What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another WNBA video. We have ourselves a three-game slate to dive into for Thursday, August 7th. So we're going to break down and analyze each of those three games. We're going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. And when it's all said and done, make sure you check right down there into the pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website. That's where you're going to find all of my final plays for these games listed for free. Now, before we jump into these games, let's go ahead and jump right over there to the website. That way we can recap our plays from Tuesday. Let's see what we took then and how that ended up going down. And there's really no other way to cut it, man. Tuesday was just absolutely brutal. We go 0-5 on our picks from the video, and the only play that we do hit on was a live play that we put in the second quarter of that Lynx game. Wings and the Liberty, the first half total over 85.5. That does not cash. They both decide they're not going to score anything. They land right at 72. Same game parlay, we put in the Mystics money line. Sonia Citron, 10 plus points, and Kiki area fin, 6 plus rebounds. Kiki hits, Sony hits. The Mystics do not win that game for us. Then we took the Sun in the first half plus 9.5, and they don't cash on that one. Rakia Jackson under 3.5 rebounds. She has one at the half, and then she finishes with 5, so we don't cash there either. And we took the Lynx in the Storm, a total under 158.5. They decide they're going to score the lights out, right? They crushing over in this one. So like I said, the only play that we hit on is that live play that we put in the second quarter at plus money. The Lynx on the money line. So we do finish 1-5 on the night. That one win there at plus money kind of helps alleviate some of that loss over there, right? But still, 1-5 on a 5-game slate, nothing to be happy about there. And we are recording this video here before the tip of the Wednesday night game. So we will recap those plays and whatever we put in here in this video in our next video. So hopefully we have a little more luck on Wednesday than we did on Tuesday, along with these three games here on this slate. So guys, smash that like button down there for me if you can, and hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's go ahead and jump into the action. PM tip-off time for our first game. It's going to be the Atlanta Dream taking on the Chicago Sky. Dream are 10.5-point favorites in this one. That total is sitting at 157.5. This is going to begin a 3-game road trip for the Atlanta Dream. They do have a 2-day rest advantage over the Sky in this one. They've won 3 in a row, 5 out of 7 since returning from the All-Star break, and they sit at 18-11, tied for third in the W. They're 16-13 against the spread and 8-7 on the road, both straight up and to the number. Now, the Sky, they're going to come in off of a win over the Mystics as a home dog their last time out, and they sit at 8-21 on the year, 13-16 against the spread. They're 5-10 at home, also both straight up and to the number. Now, there's no word yet on Ryan Howard. I can't find any new information on her, but I do see her listed as a game time decision, and we see BG listed as a game time decision as well with her neck injury. She's missed the last 2 for Atlanta. Now, the Sky, they did see Ariel Atkins return in their last game, and man, I was expecting some rust with her, having not played a game since before the All-Star break. I expected wrong, though, just like much of everything on that Tuesday night slate. 15 points on 7 of 10 shooting, 5 assists, just right back to what she does, man, scoring and facilitating for the Chicago Sky offense. And she's a huge piece for Chicago, but the missing piece here is still Angel Reese. She's being called day to day. There's no timetable set, so I'm not sure when we're going to see her back, but I really don't think that we'll see her back here for this one. And while Atkins returning is definitely big for the Sky, the Dream are just playing really solid basketball. And if one of either or both Howard or Griner is able to return here, man, I'm not sure how Chicago has enough to hang with this Atlanta team. Even if they don't return, I'm not sure if Chicago has what it takes to hang with this Atlanta Dream team. Looking at them in the last 5 games, the Dream are sitting at second for overall field goal percentage from the field, second for three-point shooting percentage, and they're hitting the third most threes per game. Chicago is one of the worst teams in the W defending along the perimeter. They're allowing the most three-point field goals per game on the year, and teams are shooting at the second highest percentage from deep on them and also at the fourth highest overall percentage from the field. Typically, we do see the Sky have the advantage on the glass, and even without Reese out there, they do still have Cardoso down low. But this Atlanta team, man, it's one of the best rebounding teams in the W. They're holding opponents to the fewest rebounds per game in the last 5 games, the third fewest offensive rebounds. They sit third on the year for total rebounds per game and fifth for offensive rebounds. And then we look at each of these teams in the turnover department. The Dream, they've been efficient with the ball, man, over the course of the season. And in their last 5 specifically, they've given the ball up at the fourth lowest rate, while Chicago is giving it up at the fourth highest rate. And the Dream are dishing out the fourth most assists. The Sky are third from last in that regard. And those turnovers for Chicago, man, they're leading to the most points scored off of turnovers across the league in the last 5, while the Dream are scoring the fourth most points off of turnovers themselves. Atlanta is hitting the fifth most second chance points coming from those offensive rebounds, but the Sky are sitting at just ninth themselves in that regard. Defensively, Chicago is sitting at sixth for second chance points allowed and also just eighth for points scored from the paint. Atlanta is converting the fourth most points from inside the paint. Now, all things they seem to be pointing to Atlanta for me, man. They are the clear-cut better team. They're playing great basketball, and they have the rest advantage in this one. I don't necessarily like laying this many points with them. They've only been made a favorite of 9 or more in 5 games, and they've gone 2 and 3 to the number in those games. But I couldn't get there with Chicago in this one, man. I would definitely be leaning towards the dream here. They've won each of the 3 head-to-heads this season so far, each of them by double digits, and then by an average of 22 points per game as well. So I think they complete the sweep here in this one. Now, for the total, 2 of the 3 matches between these two so far have gone under, but they went over this specific line in 2 of those 3. 6 of Atlanta's last 7 games has hit over this line, but Chicago has hit under this number in 3 straight and 5 of their last 6 at home. Chicago is playing at the third slowest tempo over their last 5 games, Atlanta playing at the second slowest. But when the Dream have more than 1 day of rest heading into a game, they have gone 7 and 3 to the over. I think the Dream gets some points up here, man. I'm just not as confident in the Sky doing so as well. So it's going to be a slight lean towards the over for me for the full game. But the way that I would be playing this one is on the Dream and their team total over, man. I actually already put that one in. I took it at 82.5 at minus 130 over there at Hard Rock. That number is gone. You can get it for minus 150 now, or you can get that 83.5 at minus 130, or an 84.5 is available as well if you don't want to pay any juice. So that's the way that I would be looking at the total in this one. The next up, be looking at the Connecticut Sun taking on the Los Angeles Sparks. 10 p.m. tip-off time in this one. The Sparks are 11.5 point favorites. The total sitting at 174.5. The Sparks, they do come into this one the hottest team in the league, winners of 8 of their last 10. They've put themselves right back into the playoff hunt after that poor start. They are now 13 and 15 on the year. They're 13 and 14 and 1 to the number. And while they've struggled at home for whatever reason so far this season, they are coming in off of a win over the Fever in LA their last time out, who came into that game equally as hot. The Sun came back to earth some, losing by 16 to the Mercury their last time out, and they're now just 5 and 23 on the year, 14 and 14 against the spread. They failed to cover in that loss, but they have covered in 7 of their last 10. That's going to be the third matchup between these two so far this year, and the Sparks have taken each of those two, winning by 4 in LA and then by 15 in Connecticut in late July. This is an interesting one, though, man, because prior to this letdown to Phoenix, Connecticut has been playing some pretty good ball. The Suns sit at 6 for net rating in their last 5. The Sparks come in at 5th, but each team is excelling on different ends of the court. The Sparks, they're sitting at 3rd for offensive rating, but just 10th defensively. The Sun, they're coming in at 2nd from last offensively, but then in the defensive end, they're sitting at 1st in the W for defensive rating. The Sparks attack, though, man, it's scary, right? They are so balanced. In the last 5, we can see that in the numbers. They sit at 7th, middle of the pack for percentage of points scored from 2-point range, and then 6th for percentage of points scored from deep, also pretty middle of the pack. You know what I mean? Just a pretty balanced attack. They can hurt you from deep, the post, the mid range. They're really deep, really when they're fully healthy. It's a lot to contend with, man. They're leading the league in field goals made from inside the restricted area and hitting pretty efficiently as well, 5th for shooting percentage from that zone. They're 5th for three-point shooting percentage and 3rd for overall shooting percentage from the field, averaging just under 97 points per game. That's only behind the Minnesota Lynx, best team in the W so far to date. LA is pulling in the second most rebounds per game, while the Suns sit at just 10th. Sparks are allowing more offensive rebounds to their opponents, but neither team is pulling in a ton off the offensive glass. The Suns sit at just 7th. The Sparks sit at 9th. Both of these teams, though, are turning the ball over a ton. The Sun at the second highest rate, the Sparks at the highest rate. But here's an interesting bit, man. The Sparks are forcing the fewest turnovers over their last 5. The Sun, they're forcing the most, 21 turnovers a game, 4 more a game than second place Washington even. They're scoring the most points off of turnovers as well. They're 3rd in fast break points. The Sparks are middle of the pack at 7th, defending in transition. LA does lead the W over their last 5, though, in points from the paint. 49 points per game coming from inside the paint for LA. The Sun are giving up the 3rd fewest, though. End of the day, though, man, I like the Sparks in this match, man, but they've only been made a double-digit favorite in 2 games. They've gone 0 and 2 in those. And as a favorite in general, they've gone 5 and 7. The Sun have gone 12 and 7 as a double-digit dog. So man, all the numbers tell me Connecticut. I can't get there because my eyes are telling me LA, man. They're too deep now that they're fully healthy. Cam is a force down low, you know what I mean, protecting the rim now that she's back as well. That's only going to help this defense over time, as she gets more in a groove. So she did just come back. We got to keep that in mind. She's already looking like a game changer for him. So I'd lay the points here with LA end of the day, man. Connecticut's defense is still pretty good on the road, but their offensive production takes a huge hit, and that's a concern when facing a dynamic offense like this Sparks team. And for the total, it's been 2 overs so far between these two head to head. They hit at 180 and 187 so far. The Sun have been pretty even on the year as far as hitting to the over or under, going 13 and 14 with one push in there as far as the total is concerned. They've hit 3 unders in a row, but they've had hit to the over in 3 straight prior to that. Now, the Sparks have been crushing overs all year, man. They're going over in 19 of the 28 that they've played, and in 9 of their last 10 as well. So I like an over here, man, but I am leery to pull the trigger because I'm just not sure that Connecticut's offense is going to be able to get it going here. That Sparks poor defense, that helps push me more towards that over, and their offense obviously helps gets us there as well. So it's definitely a lean towards the over in this one here. I'm just not sure that I'm going to be able to get there with it. And then our last game, another 10 p.m. tip-off time, Indiana Fever taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Mercury are 5.5-point favorites in this one. That total sitting at 170.5. After dropping 5 of 6, the Mercury have won 2 straight, but those wins were over the very short-handed Sky and then the Sun, who, despite playing well recently, they are still just 5-23, right? It's going to be the second game of a 4-game homestand for the Mercury. They're 18 and 11 on the year, tied for third in the standings with Atlanta, 16 and 13 against the spread. And then at home, the Mercury are 10 and 4 straight up, 9 and 5 to the number. They're finally fully healthy, man, and the Fever are, of course, still without Caitlin Clark. They are 17 and 13 this season. They're 8 and 7 on the road, 16 and 14 against the spread, 7 and 8 to the number on the road. Now, this is the fourth and final game of this road trip for the Fever, and they've gone 2 and 1 over it so far. They lost to the Sparks their last time out with wins over the Wings and the Storm prior to that. These two met just last Wednesday in a high-scoring 107-101 Fever win. Phoenix led by 10 after that one, then trailed by 5 at the half, and then they went into the fourth quarter down just 2, and then ultimately lost by 6. So a back-and-forth affair in that one. Indiana shot the ball really well, man. 52% from the field, 46% from deep, while holding Phoenix to just 33% shooting from the outside. Both the teams, though, they turned the ball over a ton in that one. Indiana was 16 turnovers. The Mercury was 17, but the Mercury actually converted all of those turnovers into way more points than the Fever, right? They outscored them 25-14 on points scored off of turnovers. They also outscored them in the paint, 46-38. The rebounding battle, it was pretty close. Indiana, bested them by 2. The key here for this one is going to be Phoenix playing that three-point attack better defensively this time around than they did the first time, right? They're sitting at 7th for three-pointers allowed and three-point shooting percentage allowed over their last 5, just middle of the pack. They are, however, allowing the 3rd fewest above the break threes in those 5 games and at the 5th lowest shooting percentage. Fever have preferred the above the break 3 over the corner 3. They're sitting outside of the top 5 for three-pointers made from either corner and sitting at 3rd for three-pointers made above the break and at the 4th highest shooting percentage. Now, over the last 5, the Mercury are 4th in rebounds per game, 6th for offensive rebounds. The Fever are 7th for offensive rebounds, 8th for total rebounds, but they are allowing the 3rd fewest rebounds per game and the fewest offensive rebounds. The Mercury are giving up the 5th most boards per game and the 5th most offensive rebounds as well. The Fever are 4th for second chance points. Phoenix is just 9th for second chance points allowed. The Mercury, man, they had success in the paint before against Indiana, though, and have been crushing it down low as of late. 3rd for points scored from the paint while giving up the 5th fewest. Indiana is just 7th for paint points and are giving up the 4th most such points. The Mercury, man, they've been so up and down, but I like them here at home. And that covering rate at home, plus the revenge factor here with the Fever having just beat them last week, I've got to be leaning with the Mercury here in this one, man. Looking at the total, too, their head-to-head earlier this season went over. 3 of Indiana's last 5 have as well, but the Mercury have hit to the under in 4 of their last 6. The Fever are playing to the fastest pace in their last 5, though. The Mercury are playing to the 4th fastest pace at home. Both of them can get it going from deep. Both play well in transition. Both score a bunch of points off of turnovers. So I like an over here in this one. And that is going to wrap it up for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please do not forget to smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you have not already. And that's going to do it, man. Hope you guys all cash out. Hope you guys all have a great night. And I'll see you back tomorrow for the next one.